The following is a special presentation of Extreme eSpeed TV, your new home for everything iRacing and eSpeed. Season. Extreme eSpeed TV brings you live coverage of the Light Electric Company NextGen Series. See the NextGen Series' biggest stars battle in iRacing's most competitive series. Elbows up, hammer down action. The Light Electric Company NextGen Series, live on Extreme eSpeed TV, your home for everything eSpeed.
Well, good night, everybody. We're coming to you live from Daytona Speedway for the opening night of the Light Electric Company NextGen Series. You got Andy Piercefield and John Hine up here in the booth. We're from Extreme eSpeed TV. We're excited to be bringing you all the action from the league this year. John, how you doing, buddy? Do you have a good flight in?
Oh, yeah. Glad to be back here in Daytona. I've had a pretty good last month and a half down here at this track. It's pretty cool to be back here, and I'm really anxious to see these guys do battle here for 100 laps tonight.
Yeah, it looks like we got a full field. We've got 43 cars in the pits. A little bit before we get going, they're just out hot lapping. They've been practicing for the last hour. It's we got our fast time right now. Jeff Stiles has put the fast time up on the board of 47.06. But you know what? All the way down to the slowest car is within a second. So it's a really competitive league. I'm looking forward to, getting into it and seeing what kind of action we have.
Yeah, and the distance between the time-wise and different cars are actually going to be even a lot closer than what you see on the leaderboard right now here in practice, because the size of the draft that you were in can affect you go faster if you've got 6 cars compared to 2. So there's going to be a lot going on. Everybody will show their hand a little bit when we go qualifying, and then once we're in the race, the whole key is there'll be different strategies. You can run up front or you can run in the back to try to stay out of trouble. But either way, the big thing is you do not want to lose the draft from the pack. It's really tough to make up that time here.
Yeah, it's what I was noticing in practice was just the way these cars move around so much.
Yeah, and a lot of things can affect that. The air coming over these cars can do that. When you're tucked up under somebody, the car will actually lose some front grip, and the car behind you might want to just wash up just a little bit on corner entry, and you got to bring it back down, and or the guy behind you could take air off your back deck lid too and make you a little loose getting in. So there's a lot of different things at play. The drivers are going to have a handful here, and that's going to create some action and create some passing too. We'll see 2 and maybe even 3 wide a lot of the time here. So it's one of those nights where you can just say buckle up and enjoy the ride.
Well, it's one of those where you would think you're at Daytona and you've got this big long race, and man, I got a feeling that 100 laps is going to go by quick. You're going to feel like you got to move right from the beginning.
Yeah, you do. And, the other thing is, too, about being up front or staying in the back, you got to know what your car is going to do. If you're in the back just kind of messing around the whole time, when it goes go time, you've got to know your car is going to be able to make the moves it needs to make. You've got to feel comfortable making those moves. And those around you have to feel comfortable with what you're doing, be willing to work with you, because you're not going to win this race by yourself. You're not going to motor around somebody and drive off and leave everybody. You're going to need help to win this race, and you kind of want to build relationships. I know there's a lot of teams in here, but you never know how things are going to get shuffled up at the end, and your enemy might become your best friend at the end of the race here, and you got to work together to win. So if you're up there and being around people, guys will learn, who to trust and who not to trust, and all that will play out the first probably about 85, 90 laps or so.
Yeah, it's one of them deals where they become your frenemy. Sometimes they're your friend and sometimes they're not, and it should be exciting. We've got a few cars out there. Looks like we're got about 4 more minutes of practice. We're going to step away and take a little break and play a few commercials, and we'll be right back to Daytona Speedway with the Light Electric Company NextGen Series, brought to you by Extreme eSpeed TV.
People want to have a one-stop shop. They need us for now all these different services, not just the heating and air side.
When things are going wrong, you want the company that's going to be able to get things done as fast as possible for you.
Today we're going to be in over 600 homes. What the customers can count on is we're going to send a competent person to your home with a vehicle that's stocked and prepared. We're going to do what's right.
Right now, we're waiving our $79 service fee with any Coolray, Brightbox, or Mr. Plumber service.
Extreme eSpeed TV brings you live coverage of the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series. See Dirt Pro Late Models stars battle in iRacing's most competitive series. Elbows up, hammer down action. The Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series, live on Extreme eSpeed TV. Your home for everything eSpeed.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're back here at Daytona Speedway for the opening evening of Light Electric Company NextGen Series Racing. They use the Xfinity cars, John, and I know we were talking earlier about the way the bumpers don't match up real good on these. That adds to the excitement of moving guys around in bump drafts and takes on a whole new meaning. We're watching, we got about 7 cars running there in a pack, just trying to get a feel for the draft and get some laps under their belt. And here we go. We're going to roll right into qualifying.
Qualifying.
Yep, here we got Jimmy Hetrick out there in the 48 Chevrolet with Ally on there as a sponsor. Looks like he might have picked up a old Jimmy Johnson car. Yep, he did. All right, he's set right now P3. Craig Lemon had the first lap. He's on top of the pylon, a 50.64 in the 69 car. Sorry, I believe that's Craig Lerman. I do want to give a shout out to Cody Early. Cody Early, the promoter and owner of the Pro Dirt Late Model Series, our other series that we carry here on Extreme eSpeed. He's out there doing driver's duty tonight. Oh, guys are going a little bit quicker this second time around. Nathan Bishop has jumped to the top of the board. He's coming in with a 50.53. Him and Chris Berg are tied with that time. Chad Meadows at a 50.56. Hunter Tate at 50.57. Man, what a tight group of times. Yeah, right now we've got 3 guys on top of the board with a 50.53.
Right now, the 03 of Mark Vyers is the only car out attempting to take a lap, and now he's pulling off here, and didn't look like he got a whole lap. And so a lot of guys are just opting, it looks like, to maybe stay towards the back, but I don't know how good that strategy is going to be. It looks like over half the field's going to try to do that whole scenario.
Not sure what's going on with qualifying.
Well, it looks like a lot of guys have just opted not to take a time. There's nobody out on track, There's nothing. There's no hard and fast rule that says you got to take a Q run. You'll see some guys in what we refer to in iRacing as open session. This is a league race for anybody that's unfamiliar with iRacing. This is a league race, which is a group of guys that are just in a league that get to race themselves. They race each other every week, and stuff like that, which is a really cool aspect of iRacing. But then there's also open servers, which there's, could be races on the hour, every other hour, and they're just open for anybody to get into. So if, all your buddies aren't online and you want to get out and take some laps, you can always do that. And anyway, in those online races, you do see when everybody, in those open races, should I say, you see a lot of guys do this. You'll even see some guys even start from the pits in some tracks. So they're worried about either maybe getting caught up in something, or they might want to for this especially, they may have teammates and the whole team might decide to start towards the back where they can line up together and then work together the full afternoon. I mean, even now, I think with a track this big, if you started from the pits with your teammates and you got 4 or 5 teammates, you guys could, you could pull out of the pits at that point, lock up, and just run together to click some laps off here at the beginning of the race. Like I said, lots of different strategies can be at play here and utilize, and all of them you can do successfully too.
Okay, well, I'm not sure how they're going to line them up. We'll get something out of race control here to help us out with that. But it looks like we've got a good crowd. We got a good field of cars. I'm excited to see how this works out. I haven't spent a lot of time down here watching these cars at Daytona, but I'm really looking forward to this race tonight, John. Should be fun.
Absolutely. Like I said, yeah, you're going to see some 2 or 3 wide racing, and towards the end of it, and when guys that intensity picks up a little bit, and guys start kind of going for it, you're going to see some wild things happen the last quarter of this race, and it'll be a lot of fun to not only watch, but it'll be a lot of fun for these guys that are in there too. It's a 185 mile an hour game of chess, and for those of us that are only good at checkers, sometimes it can get a little gnarly in there, but all in all, it's a good time.
Excellent. So
It looks like we'll have about 18 guys that'll take time, and then I'm going to bet the rest of them are going to be slotted in either by iRating or maybe how they signed into the server. If you look right now, sitting at 18th, the final time that went in was a 50.66, Bobby Hetrick. And then Roy Hyde will be starting 19th, it looks like, as the first car that did not take a time.
yeah, I don't fully understand that, but that's okay. We're here first night, and then we'll.
Now, what will happen in this same thing in the open servers? If you don't take a time, and based on your iRating, they will grid you in the back of the field. So let's just say you're in a server with 25 guys, and let's say 20 of them take a time. Well, they're going to occupy places 1 through 20, but those final 5 guys are going to be lined up based on their I rating. So if your I rating is, let's say, 1700 in this particular, in the oval, and the next guy is a 1658, well, then you will line up in front of him, and the guy that's a 1658 will go behind him. Or depending on how the admins set this up, you can even set it up in the order that they sign in. So whoever signed in first is just going to get a better spot. So nothing too unusual. We see it a lot here, but good news is we've got about 5 seconds. It's going to roll over to racing, and the whole lineup question is going to be answered.
Yep, and it'll be time. We're gonna go. Race starts at 9:12, so It's going to roll right into the lineup, I believe. And yep, here we go. All right, our starting lineup is brought to us by Zoey's Place. And starting on the pole be Nathan Bishop, Hammer Down Motorsports, with Chris Berg on his outside. Got Jeff Stiles in row 2 with Derek Robinson. Chris Spencer on the inside of row 3 with Eric Blunt in the number 6. And then you got Robert Lydell third in the 13 car and Chad Meadows in the 19 for row 4. David Roach and Ryan Wilson in row 5 with Hunter Tate and Dylan Blankenship in row 6. Row 7, Jimmy Hetrick in the number 48 and Steve Baker in the number 55. Troy Radford and Gordon Larson Jr. in row 8. Craig Lerman and Bobby Hetrick in row 9 with Roy Hyde starting 19th. That's the 00 car, John. That's the one that's done up like the fighter plane. And Dale Osmond will be on his outside. Dustin Ping in the 1 with Brian Littleton on his outside. And then Travis Smith and Tyler Hilton in row 12. Justin Walters and Brian Mescal Jr. in row 13 with Damon Cox starting 27th with Mitchell Snare on his outside. Brandon Mefford and Brian Snare in row 15 with Chris Mefford and Gary Ragland in row 16. We have Todd Willis starting 33rd in the 14 car and Lance Yancey in the 77 starting 34th. Joshua Caudill in the 23rd, and Matt Kopp in the 22. Todd Willis in the, well, we already got that. Sorry about that. Sergeant Elward in the number 12 with Ray Radford in the 47. And in row 20, we got Mike Massengill and Cody Early. Damian Patton and Mark, I believe it's Virus in 03. And then bringing up the rear, starting 43rd, will be Justin Rigsby in the 31 car.
There's a lot of cars to start this race, and I can tell you two very different points of view. You go up front, Nathan Bishop's got a clean racetrack in front of him, other than the pace car at this point. And then you go all the way back there to Mark Byers and then Justin Rigsby. There's a lot of cars you're going to have to pass. And like I said, though, that could be a strategy. That could be why they didn't want to qualify. They might just want to stay back here, get a group of 7, 8 guys together and stick together and wait to race the second half of the race.
Yeah, that's 43 cars. It's going to be a lot of cars out here. It's one of the advantages of being on a 2.5 mile track, though, so they should be able to give each other room.
Green.
We're getting the green.
And we're rolling. Nathan Bishop brings them across the stripe. They're 2x2 going into turn 1.
Field is looking good as they work 1 and 2 here and start to come out to the backstretch. Everybody gets through the first couple of corners cleanly, and down the backstretch they go.
They're stacked right up, still 2x2. Those tires are fresh, and everybody's feeling like they got a lot of traction under them. They're feeling pretty confident.
You know, I only saw one car drop and go to the back Right off the start there, and that was the 47 of Ray Radford. He pulled down below the double yellow line going down the backstretch. So everybody else, it looks like they're going to just stick with this pack and run here. You still have it Noah's Ark style, 2x2x2. The first 3 rows haven't changed a whole lot since the drop of the green flag. As they go down the backstretch, one line, Andy, doesn't seem to have any big advantage over the other.
No, they're all staying pretty even right now.
I think you're going to see that bottom line start to move. You see that the 4th car in line there has moved up to the bumper. That should start to push that other one forward, as there's a big gap between the guy 3rd in line there and the 29 who's 4th in line on the outside.
Oh, we're 3 wide there for a minute.
Yeah, you see 2 teammates looking to push it right through the middle here. Got to hang the Valentine-looking car, the 66 there, gonna get them to the outside there. It's still Robinson and Bishop side by side as they go down the backstretch. They enter 2, and it almost looks like, the outside line gets a good run coming off the corner and able to pull out a little bit on the inside, but then when they get in the corner, that inside line starts to take hold and push forward a little bit. They've kind of been, seesawing back and forth. There is a lap car that has lost a draft that's about halfway between the tri-oval and turn 1 now, just going into turn 1. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with these guys as they approach the lap car here, probably in about the next lap and a half.
See if one of the lines can pick him up and use him as a draft.
Yeah, what's going to happen here, if he holds his line down there on the bottom, the inside line is going to have to move up to the middle. The middle is going to have to move up to the top, and it's going to have to be choreographed to do this, because if the outside line doesn't move up and give those guys on the bottom room, you're going to get a really big stack up, if not a really big accident here. The good news is I think they're going to catch him on the backstretch. So that'll allow him, if he wanted to choose to do so. There it is. Move down below the double yellow line, let the pack go by. And that's a sign of a good sportsman right there. Very nice to see that. Well, the first 3 rows are still side by side. And no one's given an inch here. And the neat thing is about this, and other tracks, if you see guys running side by side, that can create some tire wear issues, especially for the guys on the inside, because they're having to keep the car on the bottom, which means they're putting more wheel into it. Tire wear is not as big of a factor here, so they can do this and get away with this. They could do this, all the way up to the first pit stop if they wanted to.
All right. I know that we're early in this event. We're only 7 laps in. We're going to jump away for a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back to go the rest of the way with a green flag. You're experiencing the Light Electric Company NextGen Series live on Extreme eSpeed TV.
People want to have a one-stop shop. They need us for now all these different services, not just the heating and air side.
When things are going wrong, You want the company that's going to be able to get things done as fast as possible for you.
Today, we're going to be in over 600 homes. What the customers can count on is we're going to send a competent person to your home with a vehicle that's stocked and prepared. We're going to do what's right.
Right now, we're waiving our $79 service fee with any Coolray, Brightbox, or Mr. Plumber service.
Season. Extreme eSpeed TV brings you live coverage of the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series. See Dirt Pro Late Model's biggest stars battle in iRacing's most competitive series. Elbows up, hammer down action. The Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series live on Extreme eSpeed TV. Your home for everything eSpeed.
All right, we're back. We are $11 laps in. We got 89 laps to go. John, them front cars are just staying right there. Nobody's getting an advantage.
No, you got two teammates working on the outside there, Derek Robinson and Eric Blount. Judging by the markings on the car, I'm guessing they're teammates. But, now the leader is going to come down, pick the inside lineup. Maybe we're going to see him try to break that momentum, then go back up and pick his teammate up as we go down the backstretch. No, they're going to race it out here. You're going to see we do have a lead change now. Derek Robinson, that's going to shuffle Bishop back into that second row and move Eric Blount out to the outside the front row here.
The cars have broken up into two large packs. The first pack's gotten away from them a little bit, with a little bit of a gap, and then we have the other 20 cars running nose to tail.
Yeah, and that's not unusual. You see that a lot in this kind of racing. You just two different packs with two different agendas. The guys in the back might be more apt to just be in line and follow the guys up in the front. We've seen them dicing up, maybe not so much the leaders, but a few of the rows behind them. They diced it up a little bit, while we were away on break there.
Yep, here's back in the field. You see Cody Early's in there battling. You got the 43 and the 45. Look like a couple team cars there. They're both done up for Valentine's. Everybody's behaving pretty good out there right now. We have not had a yellow. 13 laps in.
No, and judging by that back pack, I'm looking at it, where Cody is, it looks like everybody is just in line, and you see three team cars almost together on the outside line, so I'm thinking this is all by design here, just everybody's got to just relax and ride, and there's a little bit of spacing in between them, so if somebody gets into trouble, they've got room to maneuver. But if they want to catch that pack, which they will at the second half of that race, they are going to pack up a whole lot tighter than this and start pushing themselves back up to that first pack.
Got Eric Blunt just pulling out a little bit in front. The inside's got a little bit of an advantage right now, but the outside rallies right back with Blankenship and Radford out there.
Yeah, the two teammates now have found each other again, are on each other's bumpers. Are on the inside with Blount and Robinson in the 6 and then 38 car. But Dylan Blankenship in the Monster Energy number 21 on the outside, he has steadily moved. He made some pretty decent moves and has come from a little ways back to find himself now challenging for the lead as they go down the backstretch with another lap car that's lost the draft. Entering turn 3 right now, and this one seems to be high on the track. So again, they're going to have to coordinate and make sure that that inside knows that outside is going to be down the track and on their door a little bit.
Here they are. They're pulling up on the lap car. Looks like it's the number 9.
Yeah, and the 21 there of Blankenship did a really nice job of getting the draft, and it allowed him to inch ahead of Eric Blount there, but as soon as he got out, lost the draft there. The Blount and teammate Derek Robinson and the 27 of Nathan Bishop were able to kind of push that inside row right back even with those guys.
Yeah, we've got Derek Robinson and Eric Blount on the inside. They're pulling right back up, pushing the 6 car out into the lead. It's going to be pretty even at the line with the 21 of Blankenship in the lead.
Yeah, and right now you don't see anybody actually bump drafting. They're right behind them, and that's allowing them to push forward. But once we get to the end of this race, I got a feeling you're going to see some guys using that bumper to shove that guy in front of them, make him go a little faster. And that's, that's where the excitement comes from. Everybody loves these plate races.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the leaderboard there. Dylan Blankenship has moved up 10 spots. Troy Radford and Craig Lerman in 4th and 6th have both moved up 11. And then, we've got some guys. Damian Patton right now is leading the Hard Charger Award. He's moved up 20 spots.
Yeah, and a lot of that has to do with just choosing the right lane at the right time, moving up high, getting low, those right spots. And you do that and be patient enough to wait for those opportunities and then capitalize on them when they come to fruition. You can move up through the field pretty easily and pretty cleanly doing that.
Yeah, everybody's showing a lot of patience and respect right now. They're all just a few feet apart. Not much bump drafting going on. They all realize that we've got 72 laps to go.
Yeah, we've started the first 18 out caution free here, which is really good. It shows the give and take that's going on out there. But for some of these guys that have lost the draft, it's really bad because right now they're praying for a caution. In fact, the 47 is about a whole corner away. Just getting on the backstretch now. Is about to go a second lap down. He's really in dire straits, and right now he knows those guys are coming up on him really fast, and he's praying somebody caution, please, right now.
Looks like we're starting to get strung out in this lead pack here. There's 4 rows of 2x2, and then everybody else has dropped into single file.
Yeah, and that might start to make that bottom line a little bit more viable, put a little more energy in there because, more cars that are in a line, the faster you're going to go. And once again, the 47 car gets down below the double yellow line to get out of these guys' way so they can just make their way by, and it doesn't affect anything that these guys were doing, which is a nice thing to see.
Yeah, these front 9 cars battling away, and then you got about 15 cars single file behind them.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, the 47 car, what he's doing is great sportsmanship, but at some point, I don't know if I don't stay high if I'm him and let the pack go and then try to turn down on that with that last car passes just so I can maybe get a sniff of the draft so I can keep up and not lose any more ground. But when you get out of the way like that, you have no shot of picking back up on the draft. The other thing, too, about them leaving this little bit of gap between each other, that's allowing these cars to stay in line a lot easier. If you're up under somebody's bumper there, the temperatures in the cars will rise. It'll do so rapidly. So if you're pushing, you've got 5, 6, 7 laps, and then your car is going to start to overheat, and these cars will pop a motor. It will blow that motor up. So that'll be something also to keep in mind a little bit later is when you push, how hard you push, when you've got to let that car get air and cool down. All that stuff is going to come into play. Like I said, it's a game of chess at 85 mile an hour.
Looks to me, John, like the cars are starting to move around a little bit more. Do you think the tires are starting to get worn?
Yeah, they're probably a little bit of wear in them. They're definitely not gripping as much as what they did the first laps. You also have to figure the fuel burn off too. The cars are a little bit lighter, so the handling will change here as we go through. And these guys are doing a good job of kind of keeping the cars off of each other. But yeah, when they come in and pit, you might even see some guys not take tires and take fuel only. So the tire wear may not be oh my gosh, I need some new tires, but there's still got to be enough to where, okay, yeah, I'm moving around a little bit more. I need to give each other a little bit more room, that kind of stuff. Looks like Chris Spencer in the 11 is another lap car that's coming up in the same turn now as these guys are going to come out here rapidly, and he is up high. So it'll be interesting to see how he's able to navigate. Now he's pulling to the bottom there. As they pass him, you can just see the speed difference between the guys in the draft and then the guys that aren't. You're talking 7-8 mile an hour difference. It's incredible how fast, how much of a speed difference there is between them.
Well, that's 25 laps in. We're a quarter of the way there. So far, it's been all green. Great start to the season. Everybody's minding their P's and Q's out there, John. Behaving pretty good right now.
Yeah, as this is my first look at this league, I can't tell you how impressed I am to what they're doing here. That shows that there's a lot of respect throughout the field. A lot of guys are giving and taking, and not too many leagues are around that you see that kind of thing in. It's outstanding, and each one of these guys should be proud of the fact that they are part of a good league here, it looks like.
We're going to move back here in the field a little bit. There's the blue 51 coming down there into turn 1. That's Damian Patton. He's moved up 19 spots, John. He started out back in, 41st spot. He's coming up through there nicely.
Yeah, and he's part of that lead pack. You see the 3 team cars, the 3 pink cars right in front of him. So it looks like he's just being patient and riding at this point. And that patience and that riding and putting yourself in the right lane and whatnot has moved him up through the field, I'm guessing. But guess what, Andy? Next about 10, maybe 15 laps, pit stops. And if we're going to be doing Green Lab pit stops, this big pack you see here is going to get real dicey. Coming into pit lane, some guys are going to lose the draft. Some guys are going to get in and out of pits a whole lot quicker. I know when I ran the Daytona 500 a couple weeks ago, coming into pits, it is amazing. I went in with a guy on my bumper. I came out, and the guy was 3 seconds behind me. So you can make up a lot of ground if you get aggressive getting into pit road, but you got to be careful. You can't be too aggressive. You don't want a speeding penalty, and you don't want to lock the brakes up and spin the car coming to pit road, especially if you're only planning to take fuel only here.
Yep, so we're back in the field. We're looking at around 22nd through 30th back here. I see Cody Early and Damon Cox. They've been following each other, getting some laps, getting comfortable with their cars. Quite a few guys back here trying to figure out how to make their move to get caught up with that front pack.
Yeah, you see a lot more cars in line than what you did a little while ago. And if you notice, the two packs are on the verge of becoming one long train from the front. You've got a couple of guys on the outside. The first 4 cars on the outside of the leaders, and then back here by Cody, you got 3 guys on the outside. But other than that, the whole field has come back into line, and they're starting to get in a true train, where there's not any gaps between any of them.
Here we are with the in-car camera of Damian Patton. Again, he's moved up 19 spots since the start. He's in line right now for that Mission 22 Hard Charger Award. Go back up front here. Looks like got changed for the lead. We got Dylan Blankenship pulled down in front of Eric Blunt. He's going to lead the pack. Yeah, the outside row has pretty much lost its group. It doesn't really have a pack up there anymore.
No, you need about 5 or 6 guys, and now what's really bad is those guys that didn't get down in time. Blankenship did, but the guys behind him, they're going to kind of get freight trained here a little bit because there's not any real gaps to pull down into. So they're going to have to stay nose to tail and ride it out probably up until they get ready for the pit stops here coming up here shortly.
So we've got 30 laps in, 70 to go. I'm telling you what, the 94 car at Troy Radford, he's hanging tough out there. He's come up to second place from his 15th starting spot. So a nice run to the front.
Yeah, now they're up to 4 cars on that outside line here. So we'll see if that kind of stabilizes those cars for them. There's really no downside if you're at the back of this little pack here to pull up there and get up there and probably maintain your position. But like I said, pit stops are coming up here very shortly, and if you're on the outside needing to pit, you got to have to make sure you're on that bottom line because obviously you can't just hang a left and head to pit road if you got a line of cars to your inside. So again, everything's going to have to be choreographed here, and any miscommunication or anything like that, you're going to see trouble getting to pit road.
Do you think most of the guys will try to just split it halfway?
I don't think they got enough fuel to do that. They're going to have to probably make it into a 2 pit stop race. If you do that, you're probably going to have to try to get to probably about lap 35. That's about what I would be guessing that they're going to try to get to, which is about 3 laps away, that 35, 36, and try to do it that way. Because a race like this, you want to, once you get your fuel number, then you want to start counting backwards, almost like a road race, and figure out, okay, where is the pit window open at? What can I do? Short pit, whatever, if you're with a teammate. Make sure everybody is on the same page, everything else. So there's a lot going on right here for the next lap or two, figuring out what you guys are going to do and make sure you can get to pit road cleanly. And the most important thing is getting woed up, not getting any penalties. Don't speed down pit road. Don't lock the tires up. Because, like I said, I won't be surprised if some guys take. Here they come, Andy. They're all coming in now.
Yep, here comes a whole pack of our front runners. It looks like about the first 20 cars are all coming down. Dylan Blankenship makes it into his spot safely. Eric looks like his.
Yeah, they are taking tires. I do see guys going up on the jacks here. Look like Blankenship might have only taken 2 tires though, so he's gonna get a big lead coming up here off the pit road here. In fact, I'm wondering if Cody Early. Blankenship was in the lead. Cody Early was back, but now look where Early is. He's right behind Blankenship on the pit road exit. Oh, hang on to it, Cody. I'm going to bet that Cody took fuel only here, and now that's going to put him massively. He's going to gain some massive positions here. Yeah, Cody is up where the leaders are. I'll be interested to see now. Guys, I saw some guys take 2 tires. I saw some guys take 4. And the guys that Cody just didn't have a good run coming off the pit road here. He looks like he's kind of losing ground here on those guys, so hopefully he can pick their draft up here quickly. Oh, he's coming back in. He must have had a penalty or missed his spot.
Yep, something must happen. He's coming down pit road now.
Yeah, now you got a whole other line of cars exiting pit road now, and these other line is up to speed. But here's the thing. Blankenship has got a significant lead while the 3 cars behind him, the 2 teammates of Robinson and Blount, have also got the 94 of Radford in there. They're going to have a massive run when they get to the 21 car there. And I'm wondering, he's going to have his handful. I don't know if he'll try to block them or he's going to have to try to let them go by and then get immediately on the back of like that 01 to grab the draft.
Yep, here they come.
Yeah, he's going to hold his line here, and I'll be interested to see if all 3 of them, when they pass him, they may very well just turn to the bottom here.
So I'm showing.
And there they go.
So they're coming up on Chris Berg, the 66 car, going into 3. I'm showing him as the leader, John.
Yeah, I don't know if he hasn't pitted or if he just now pitted, but these guys are going to blow right on by him here. And there you go. Everything cycles through. And I tell you, the 0-1 there, Gordon Larson, that last name Larson, he parked it in Victory Lane out at Fontana, out at Auto Club here today. We saw Kyle Larson pick up the win in the Cup race out there. So today might be a good day if your name's Larson.
Yeah, that front pack is filtered through. I don't see any big changes to the group. A lot of action through that pit stop, though. And you know what? We have still yet to have a yellow. Everybody came through that cleanly.
Yeah, again, speaks to the level of professionalism and the talent in this league to be able to do this now. And, we're working lap 37, no cautions, yet. But hopefully maybe we can get it through green flag. That'd be remarkable. But I tell you, that outside line has got a little advantage here on the fresher tires, it looks like.
I will tell you that the guy running second in that outside line is Cody Early. He is a lap down, but he is battling back there to hang in there and maybe get a lucky dog.
Yeah, it's important that you can do that. And we've seen a few cars go a lap down here, so there's going to be a battle for that lucky dog, if it does come out here. But we've got a lead change up front. The 2 of Tyler Hilton has taken the lead. The 94 of Trad Radford pushed him to the lead, and then he kind of bailed on him and went right down and picked up that inside line. And, looking at this lead pack, too, now you've got 3 teammates out there. 2 of them are kind of behind each other. One is on the outside looking at Derek Robinson in the 38, the 01 of Gordon Larson, and then the 6 of Eric Blount. And remember, we've seen Blount and Robinson up front in the first, 3 or 4 cars the entire race up until that pit stop. As they come through the tri-oval here, you're starting to see the 94 start to inch ahead of Tyler Hilton in the number 2. Battle for the lead once again. Here we are, lap 40, and the field, the leaders are separated by a bumper. Yeah. Uh-oh. Good old trading paint snafu. I think if you hit Control R, I think that might help fix it.
Yeah, it's resetting all of them but his.
Switch to another car and maybe that'll help it out there. Or good old trading paints. Man, I've gotten into races, and I'm sure each one of these guys here have had that experience where you get on the grid and the worst thing in the world, you look around and every car is painted like yours. I've had that happen. Sitting at a heat race, Evolution not too long ago, and next thing I know, my cars are in front of me, my car is next to me and behind me. It's a little weird, actually, a little eerie. But now, here's something that we're going to see now here. We haven't seen. We've got 2 cars that are running tandem now in front of the leaders, a couple of seconds ahead of the leaders here. When they get to them, these 2, if they stay hooked together, are going to be a little more difficult to pass than the single car, as they were coming around. So it'll be interesting to see what these 2 do and how they handle it. It looks like they're going to catch him, too, at a pretty difficult spot. My guess is they're going to catch him probably either in the middle of 1 and 2 or right at the end of 2. If they get him on the backstretch, that'll be a heck of a lot easier. But it looks like they're going to go high and stay out of these guys' way, which is a good thing here, especially as they come down the back. They go down the backstretch here. The 94 is going to swing out just a little bit to try to catch a draft on them. As the outside line here, the leaders have fallen back to about 3rd or 4th here. So we've seen this happen earlier where the outside line kind of lost some of its punch.
Got another lap car coming up down through the tri-oval. Looks like he's running around the bottom.
Yeah, no, they will definitely catch him into the corner here. Oh, the 2 came up off the bottom. He's off the bottom and opened the door for Derek Robinson. Now you got him 3 wide for the lead coming up on the lap car. And the lap car just looks like he's going to be content in that bottom line and is not going to get out of the way of the leaders and go below it. This is going to get dicey entering turn 3 here. The 0-1 opted just to pick him up and push him. Now we do have the 33 in this pack, or excuse me, the 83, Brandon Mefford. He is a lap down here, but man, that's a prime position for the lucky dog. You know, if the leaders are in front of you, nobody else is going to get between you to get that lucky dog.
Absolutely. And what it's also done is it's moved a lot of guys up to that outside line.
Yeah. Yeah, it's reorganized it. Now that outside line looks to be just a touch stronger. Oh, the big question is the 2, when he clears the 38, does he pull down and pick the 38, or does he stay up there and not abandon his wingman? Up there he goes.
Yeah, he's pulled right back down and get in line as soon as he could.
You know, I had that happen a lot to me. I pushed a couple of guys up, and one of the things that can be happening here, you know, the 500 that I ran, I had guys that would just pull right down as soon as I pushed them in the lead. And in the back of your mind, you know, that's good and bad, because you're like, okay, if we get to the end here and you're pushing me, you don't have to feel guilty about abandoning them. You know, so you can do what you need to do. But these are all things that you can take notes of here, you know, as we, you know, almost halfway through the race. Guys that will stick with you, guys that won't, and use that at the end.
Yeah, right now we've got the front, what do we got, about 14 cars running in this lead pack. They're all within a second of each other.
Yeah, and you see Derek Blankenship now is retaking the lead here over Tyler Hilton. Trey Radford, though, on that 94 is hanging tough on the outside.
Kind of interesting after the pit stops. Steve Baker and Damian Patton, they're gaining on that lead pack, not only in car count, but you know, Damian Patton's moved up 21 spots. He's starting to pick off cars that are in the lead draft.
You know, another thing that I would do, if my idea was to lay back until the first half of the race, at some point, I do need to see if I can pass some cars and kind of get an idea of how long exactly it's going to take me to work around and work up to the front. You know, in real life, you see guys that go from the back to the front and able to do it in 4 or 5 laps. That just doesn't happen here in iRacing. If you're towards the back, it might take you 10, 15 laps if you make all the right decisions at all the right times and have those opportunities afforded to you to make those decisions at those times. So a lot has to happen to get yourself back up through the field if you've kind of been laying back a little bit.
This front pack of I don't know, about 18 cars in this lead pack. The group behind them has gotten together and is starting to run them down a little bit.
Yeah, and here's another thing we haven't touched on. These guys now are halfway through 50 laps in the books, or working lap 50 here, should I say. No cautions. Well, there's a physical and a mental aspect of this too. If you've been running nose to tail, side by side, like these front, 6-8 cars have this entire race, at some point, maybe 1 or 2 of these guys maybe get a little tired. Their right foot, holding it down might get a little sore, or the left foot dragging the brake or lifting, and or just staying mentally in tune not to run up and bump somebody. This now, from here on in, you're going to see, I think, mental mistakes maybe start to come into play here. I mean, you and I are used to running, 30 lap, 40 lap, 50 lap A mains where it's, okay, hammer down, and it's, if it goes green, you're done before you really know it. But these are long laps with a lot going on.
More movement up here at the front of the pack than what we were having earlier. They're kind of dicing around and mixing it up and getting in different lines. I see now we got Troy Radford out in front. He was running about 5th a couple laps ago.
Yeah, and as soon as he got clear, he pulled down, so that's going to mean one less car in that outside line here. So we'll be interested to see if that outside line maintains a competitive balance, I guess I would say. But you're starting to see like the 19, the Hooters car there of Chad Meadows. That's a new name we haven't seen up front here. The same thing with Brian Snare in the 45. The 71 of Gary Ragland too. I mean, so now you're starting to see a handful of guys that may have been laying back early that are now starting to work their way up front and get into this battle. I would have to think maybe about lap 75 or 80. If you're back anywhere, I would say 15th on back, that becomes go time for you. If you're up here in this top 10 and riding, I would say maybe about 15 to go. You got to start getting really aggressive with it and try making things happen. I just don't know that you can come from 10th to 1st and 15th without being somewhat aggressive.
Well, we're probably going to have another round of pit stops of what, lap 70?
Yeah, right about there, probably about lap 68 or so. That would be my guess. And you can make it to the end because that's just 32 laps, and then we got to lap 33, 34 before we saw pit stops here. Remember, the guys up in the front now, we've seen a lot of lead changes, so about everybody's going to get a little better gas mileage. Because if you led the entire one, like the first round before the pit stops, I believe the 21 car and maybe the 6 car led a majority of that. They were burning up more fuel because they were the ones punching the hole in the air there. So it'll be interesting and see this next round. And if that also splits up the field, it didn't split them up as much as what I thought that would in the first one. So these guys are really good in being able to get in and off pit road. And if you notice, too, the guys up front are starting to move around like you talked about, too. And this is about the same amount of laps as it was last time that they had on their tires. And now, like I said, you put that and you also put a little bit of the physicality and the mentality aspect of it, having green flag being on it. That all can factor in now as these guys are moving around. And that outside line now is completely broken up.
Yeah, we're single file on the inside. The outside is got 3 cars, and then it looks like they got a lap car behind them. He's just trying to hang on and make up some time. The front group is a little bit, now they're trying to form back up on the outside. Let's see what they can do here.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how well they do. It looks like you got about 6 cars to the inside, 5 to the out, but you've also got the 01 back there. You got a little bit of distance between him and the number 2 there, Tyler Hilton, but now you're seeing the 55. There's a new player and the 29 that have come into this whole fight. The 55 is Steve Baker. You were mentioning him as a big mover. Well, he now is all the way.
Oh, and we got a big wreck right up front.
Flag is out.
Dylan Blankenship got turned up into the fence, and it's piled up a bunch of them back there.
Yeah, it looked like Blankenship caught the double yellow line, got his tires maybe a little bit off the banking there, and it shot him up. When you watch it, if you watch Blankenship's right or left side tires, right about corner entry, you see him. There's a black line between the 2 yellow stripes. That first yellow stripe, you still got banking, but that inner, the inside yellow stripe, it's more flat. Looked like he got his tires below that black line separating the 2 to the flat, and it upset the car, and he walked up the track, and that led to the big one there.
Yeah, that's gonna take a bunch of them out of contention here. We had quite a few of them up front. Quite a few of the cars I see out there right now are going to need to head down to pit road here as soon as it opens.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this too. This, man, this is going to be tough here because let's see if they go on to pit road, because if you pit from here, you will absolutely have to pit again, but the second pit stop under green is going to be with about 10, 11, 12 laps to go. So this is a huge, and they are all coming in here.
Yeah, we had quite a few of these cars have damage on them.
Yeah. And with the long caution lap here, and with 40 to go, you can afford to sit in there and get as much of that damage fixed as you can.
Let's go back and take a look at one more time here. Yeah, it looked to me like he came down a little bit, and the 83 got into him, and it just, you know what, a lot more guys got through there cleaner than I thought they did the first time around, so a lot of heavy damage on a few of them.
Yeah, it's exciting. Everybody running in the pack here, and that's the downside to pack racing. If one guy has an issue, it's going to take a whole lot of guys with them, and that's exactly what you saw right there. A lot of guys are going to have to play that game of watching where the pace truck is or pace car is, and sitting in the pits and maximizing the time that they're going to get here with this long caution flag laps here to get as much of that damage fixed as they can.
Yep, it looks to me like we're going to be a couple more laps here before we get everybody lined up. We've got, I don't know, there's probably 15 cars on pit road right now.
Yeah, with the pace car getting ready to be about where pit exit is, a lot of these guys that are getting them fixed need to start rolling right about now so they don't lose a lap.
Yep, they're all heading out. Except for we've got, looks like Dylan and Brandon Mefford and Gary Ragland, the 3 that were mostly involved in that, they're still in the pits.
Yeah, and we don't know if they had to take a tow or not. I didn't go back and watch how their incidents, if they got upside down and turtled it, they'd be on a tow, which means they're going to be sitting there for a little bit. So it's a tough break for those guys, especially for the 21 there of Dylan there. He was one of the dominant cars up front, and he was a guy that seemed like he could make moves where he wanted to. And, now he's Dylan Blankenship. He's got that Monster Energy drink car just sitting in pit lane, and any chance of winning this is now out the window.
Looks like the light's off on our pace car. We'll be heading into the restart zone, brought to you by Blackhawk Motorsports.
And as we get ready to start here, Andy, if you look at these first 2-3 rows, take a look here. Jeff Styles, as a newcomer being up front here. The same thing with Steve Baker. You've got a lot of new names up here. Michael Snare, David Roach. We have not seen those guys up front. The 55, like I said, Baker, starting in the second row. About every row, with the exception of that front row, has a new guy that hasn't really been up front yet. So it'll be interesting to see what these guys have and how they race from here on out.
Yeah, and I'm looking at restarting in sixth spot or sixth and seventh. We got some cars that have moved up over 20 spots. We got a green flag back out with Troy Radford's going to lead us down into one with Jeff Styles with a nice run on the outside. Two by two. Tyler Hilton down there on the bottom, right behind the 94 car. Oh, the 55. Steve Baker pulls down and leaves Jeff Styles on the outside all by himself. He's going to get dropped back a few spots.
Yeah, he is. That was a pretty smart move. Kind of abandoned the guy there on the outside there and Styles, but he's got somebody to do his bumper, and if they can get that outside reorganized, he'll push his way back up front here. You got a team car that's pushing him to the guy to the 09, David Roach. I'm surprised Roach didn't jump up and hop up to the bumper of his teammate there. Oh, wow. Styles got pushed to the lead, and the one guy that was pushing him, he abandoned him and went down to the bottom, and now, that Snare, Michael Snare has just got a drop, and he's got a little room in, he's able to slot it in fourth there. But we've got another outside line that's got a big run coming.
Yep, they're getting formed up back there.
Another guy that we haven't said a whole lot about, Michael Lydell, is in that 13 car. All of a sudden had a nice run there. The 66 was leading it of Chris Berg, but he pulled down in front of his teammate.
Yeah, we got Todd Willis and Robert Lydell trying to form up an outside row. They need somebody to jump up there with them.
Yeah, and from the looks of it, a lot of times when you have a big accident like that, a lot of guys take a deep breath and okay, we don't want to do that again for a while. So things calm down a little bit, and guys maybe just get more aligned to get in line and just click a few laps off before they get back and start racing again.
Yeah, now Robert Lydell's out there all by himself right now.
Yeah, and he's going to end up at the back of the line. There's no real spots for him to pull down into. And I can just tell you, it is such a helpless feeling. You're up there, and one guy goes and another guy goes, and you're just looking for that hole to drive down into to stop the bleeding. Or you hope one of the guys towards the back of this long line say, hey, I'm going to go up here and see if I can make up some spots. Because some of these guys towards the back, if they went up there and got up to his bumper, they would pick up some spots. You'd see that outside start to push back forward, but nobody seems like they're wanting to do that at this point.
No, they're doing their best to just stay in a straight line and run some laps right now. One thing about drivers, John, right now they can still remember the wreck. Here in about 5 laps, they'll forget about the wreck.
Yeah, and also keep in mind, some guys may have gotten damaged. Some guys may not know how much damage they have. So, if you think you got some damage, especially to the nose of your car, you're not going to want to pull out and try too many, okay, I've got to have some power to make this work kind of thing, because you may not be cutting through the air like you once were. As I look at some of these cars that are, up here in this top pack, looking at like the back of the 66, who's got a bit of damage to the rear of his car, he's going to be at this point a good pusher. I don't know if he'll be a good leader just because of the damage to the spoiler and everything.
Now, it looks to me, John, we're with 35 laps to go. We're within the pit window. Do you think somebody will short pit and get in here early?
I I do. I think I would cut this last run here in half, knowing that you got to do it. I would probably come maybe about lap 80. That's what I would be shooting for, to get back out, get back to speed. If I've lost any ground and I got partners, I can make up the ground. That would be my goal here, but I definitely wouldn't pit any earlier than lap 70. So just in case, I don't know if there's green, white checkers in this or not, but you want to make sure you do have fuel for overtime if there is any.
Oh, he's finally got a hole. He got down in there. Nice job.
Yep.
He had moved his way up nicely to that third position.
Yeah, he was side drafting and pulling cars back to him, and very smart, very well done. And the fact that he had the wherewithal to do that, that's a guy you're probably going to want to watch at the end of this. Yeah, we are definitely in that time of the race where the choo-choo train is in full effect. But, part of that is, excuse me, part of that is not just because a wreck just happened, but now you're also in the back of your mind, I've come this far, I'm at least got to get to the end, and so the risk and reward here is a lot higher. You don't want to come, 2/3 of the race, 3/4 of the race through, and then throw it away. Let's get to the end. Let's get through that pit stop. And after that pit stop, it's go time. So whenever you see these guys dive to the pits here, and then once they get back to the track, that is going to be where it's go time.
"13's either having trouble or trying to get to the pit."
He went down below the yellow line there. And was unable to get to the top, but it does appear he's coming to pit road. He must have had a problem. I don't think he'd be short pitting already, but I'll keep my eye on him as he goes down pit road.
Just the way he pulled off on the back stretch was a little peculiar. I don't know if he had a tire or fuel. Maybe he had a fuel problem.
Oh, I kind of wonder.
It almost acted like he was out of fuel. He entered, he dropped out of line back on the back stretch. Well, we're back up front. We got Jeff Stiles and Troy Redford and Tyler Hilton still leading the pack around. They're still just knocking off some laps. We're on lap 70. We've got 30 laps to go. I think we got a bunch of different agendas up front there. We got some guys that are definitely racing for the win. We got some guys with some damage that might be thinking that they're going to get out of here and steal a top 10. And then we got some guys that are just hanging on. So I don't know. A lot of different things going on. A lot of different ideas and thoughts and strategies, John.
Yeah, just like what we said at the top of the show, there's going to be a lot of different ways to approach this race. And the cool thing is, most all of them will work to some degree or another. But the 13, just to give you an update, I'm going to bet you're onto something there with that fuel thing, because he just did a normal pit and back out of the pit area. So not a hardware issue or anything like that. That's a tough break.
Yeah,
I guess he might have been counting on another quickie caution, having that mentality of caution brings cautions, but these guys have done a big job of getting it sorted back out and go back racing.
Yeah, he's back in 33rd position now.
Wow, now look up front. You got 4 teammates all lined up on the outside here. And that's a lap car that's to the outside. Chris Spencer in front of that outside line. And Andy, I would say at this point that pit window, I think, is now open. I think you could pit anywhere for him here on in and feel good. But here's something we haven't seen all race. Look at the amount of cars on the outside line now. Only 4 on the inside.
Yeah, Radford and Hilton pulled up in front of that lap car. They got a nice push to the front. Stiles is still battling back on the inside.
Yeah, right now on the inside, there's a break here, and you got Nathan Bishop and Chris Mefford close back in here, and now that inside line is kind of evened out with the outside as far as many cars go. But it did split that team of 4 up there. I find that pretty interesting. And we got 2 lap cars up the road here. One's in the bottom lane and one's in the top lane. That's one of those, you better pull your seatbelts tight.
Oh, did somebody get in a fence back there, or was he just riding up high?
He was just riding up high. That was one of our early leaders, the 21 there of Dylan Blankenship.
Oh, he's back out. Okay. Looked like the 48 was out just making some laps, too. Jimmy Hetrick, he was caught up in that same accident. Oh, the 55 car is doing a nice job. Steve Baker, he was on the outside, and he pulled down in front of the 85 car.
Yeah, remember, these guys are all running for a points championship, so every position's going to count, I have to believe. So that's why these guys, even though they're way off the pace, are getting out there and making laps, because still with about 26 laps to go, if there's another big one, knocks another 4 or 5 guys out of this thing, next thing you know, you can go from, you can pick up 5-6 spots by just getting out there and running laps. And that's a good amount of points can be collected that way.
Absolutely. And you bring that up, it's a 27 race season. It'll wrap up on October 9th with a championship race, and that'll be at Homestead Speedway down in Florida.
Yeah.
Once we get this opener done, John, we'll be going out west for the West Coast swing. We'll be heading to California, Vegas, and Phoenix the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'm going to actually be doing the Vegas race in a cup car for the NIS, the iRacing deal. So it'll be kind of fun to get out there. That's a great track. You got 3 different tracks when you go out to that swing. You got the big 2-mile oval of Auto Club there in Fontana. Then it's over to the bright lights of Vegas at 1.5 miles. And then you go out to the desert there of Phoenix and that Roval. So, yeah, you're going to have 3 different tracks and 3 completely different challenges for these drivers.
I tell you, the 11 car, Chris Spencer, is right in there. He seems to be getting more comfortable running with that lead pack.
Yeah, if he doesn't have any damage and he's not holding guys up. Now, towards the end, I think if there's 10 to go, I kind of move up high and let these guys get around me. I don't want to decide the end of the race here. But if he's for right now, I don't know if he's near the lucky dog or what the case might be, but this is a good position to be in. Run with the leaders and, it puts you in the best chance to get that wave around if a caution does come out.
Right now, Troy Radford's just happy to have a pusher.
Yeah. Closing up here on lap 77. I have to think some cars are going to start peeling off here to pit road before long, I'd have to think. Like I said, if I'm in here, I'm probably going to about lap 80 before I do. But they are definitely going to have to pit again before this race is over.
Well, and the worst part is I don't know if they've got their spotters talking to each other or what, but that lead pack wants to go in there together.
Yeah, and this other team where you got the 4 teammates with the similar, I would be pitting early with them because you can get back out on the track, get nose to tail and go do the draft and probably not lose a lap. So if a caution does come out, everybody else will have to pit, and then next thing you know, you've got the lead and enough fuel, and you're going to occupy the first 2 rows. So, like I said, there's a lot of different strategies that you can play here. It'll be interesting to see who does what and more importantly, when.
Oh, the 55 pulled up there and was putting a little bit of a block on the outside row.
Yeah, just trying to break that momentum and then going right back down and picking up the bottom. Another way to approach this is run her till they're dry and then come in and take your fuel. I can guarantee it, though, you're not going to see tires on this. These guys are just going to do for the quick fuel because they're not going to have to take a full tank of fuel here. They can, knock the fuel number down that they got to put in the car. That'll shorten the pit stop and get you in and out of there rapidly.
Nobody pulls in one more time.
Yeah, like I said, that caution came out, what was it, about lap 58 or so. So they should be able to go to about lap 84, maybe 85. Like I said, if I'm out there and I've got teammates or someone that I'm working with in communication with, I'm going about lap 80 and getting it out of the way. If I'm in this top pack, if I'm one of the guys in the back, you can't do that because you will almost certainly lose a lap.
One thing about it, the 94 of Radford and those guys are stuck on the outside. Him and Brian Mescal Jr., they're going to have a harder time getting into the pits.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier. If you're on the outside and you're looking at your fuel number and you need to get in there, you got to find that hole and get down to the bottom. Or if you go past that pit road and run out of fuel anywhere from the middle of the backstretch on, you're going to be hard-pressed to make it to the pit road without the car coming to a stop. And even at that, even if you do make it, you're going to lose so much time.
All right, Radford was able to pull down in front. I got a feeling they're getting lined up to come to the pits.
Yeah, and the nice thing is if you are hung up to that outside, you pay attention to the leaders. Hopefully you have a spotter. Yeah, or you're using your mirror. If you see everybody come in, you can dive down with them. You just got to do it very carefully. And I think we saw them do that earlier in the first round of stops. Good news, there's only 2 of them out there at this point, so it isn't like you're going to see them all pit double file here. Looks like they're going to keep on going.
$18 laps to go. They're getting down to a point now where, what's it going to be? Gas only?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because you should only have to put maybe 4, maybe 5 gallons in it. You can't change tires that quick. I mean, maybe you can get the outside tire, your right side tires changed, but you definitely can't do 4. But I think that you're going to just see gas and goes here. Now we're back up to 4 cars in line on the outside. And you also see groups of cars ahead of these guys. You got a group of 4 not too far up the track in front of them, and then another, looks like 3 that are a little ahead of them too. So, and those guys, the guys that they're closing in on are side by side at this point in turn 2. They're in the same corner at this point.
Yeah, we've got cars, a lot of cars coming up in front of them here. I got to believe they're coming here pretty soon.
Yeah, they've got to be. Wow, look at them jumble up trying to work around these cars. Wow, that's really got them jumbled up. That's why I cannot believe they didn't pull. If I was, like I said, those 14 cars, if they would have pulled in there, they would have. Oh, you got them in. You got two guys in the wall on the outside.
Yeah, it looked like the 13 got up into the wall.
Yeah, that whole jumble. If those four cars would have, team cars would have pitted that last lap, they would have probably came out with an advantage once they got out of pit road. Just because those guys had to weave all over to work their way around those guys. Well, we're on lap 85. We started the race. They started pitting around lap 34. So they're stretching a little further than what they did the first go around. I mean, about 88, lap 88 will match about what the first run was there. So, man, that's cutting it close to the end of the race.
Well, especially when that lead pack right there, that lap was not a good lap when they were having to pass all them cars.
No, and then the guys towards the back of this group missed an opportunity there to come in and pit. You know, if you see that group out in front there, you know that it's going to hold them up a little bit. You might as well come in and take advantage of that.
$14 to go.
I bet you if they don't come in this lap, they're going to come in. They're going to come in the next. I can't imagine that they've got enough fuel to get to the end. You know, the other thing is, by running them almost dry, you know, that also shortens your time on pit road. You know, you don't have to put as much fuel in. Instead of putting 5 gallons, maybe you can put 3 in. You know, that tenth of a second difference, 0.2 of a second difference, well, heck, that could take you from, 6th to the lead. Here they come. About half of them have dove in here this time.
Yep. There's about 12 of them stayed out, and about 8 of them came in. It's all going to come down to who gets in and out the cleanest. We had those 4 team cars come in.
Yep. And it appears to be fuel only. I do not see any of these guys' cars getting jacked up. Yep, fuel only.
The car running in third, the 69 car, he's not in this lead pack.
No, and right now the 55 of Steve Baker, who was towards the front of that pack, is now halfway between turns 1 and 2 and not up to speed. And he doesn't have anybody around him to really hook that draft up. These guys are going to have to drag their brakes a little bit to get formed up.
Jeff Stiles came in. He lit up his brakes. He was skidding his tires pretty bad. I don't know how much of an impact that'll have if he flat spotted them, but
it's hard to say, but at this point, you do not want
he overshot his pit.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's a killer. He'll lose the lead pack now, for sure.
Yep, there he goes. He's he lost a lot of spots on pit road.
Well, now this is going to be interesting. The Steve Baker there in that 55 has picked up those cars that were a lap down that they all had to jumble around. He is now behind him and is able to get a little bit of a tow, which is going to just allow him. There he goes past all those guys that were in that lead pack.
He's running in, he's in second. The car, the 45 car, which I think is one of those pink cars, that is our leader right now.
It looks like the pink car that's in the lead is the 45 of Brian Snare. Yeah, and he's between two lap cars.
Yep, you got the 45 and then the 55 and then the 66. So the three pink cars did a nice job getting in and out of the pits. You called that one, John.
Yeah, now the 66 is to the outside of the 55. We'll see if the 45 goes up and picks up his teammate. Wow, he doesn't go and get his teammate. Now those teammates are all on that outside.
Yeah, the 55, he's got to feel like the lone wolf there.
Well, yes and no. Those other guys that are up there with them know that all those pink cars are going to be working together. So if you need a friend up there, you don't want to go with the guy that's got a lot of friends. You want you and another buddy out there to team up with a guy that doesn't have that many friends and gang up on those pink cars. Oh, by the way, when all this has gone on, Andy, we're 8 laps to go here, so this is getting down to it.
Yeah, we've got a pack up here. We're coming up on another lap car. You'll see there's 4 or 5 of them on the backstretch.
Oh my gosh, that 0-3, man!
Oh, big wreck. The 94 just went. Troy Radford flying into the infield wall.
I have no idea why that 0-3 turned up in the middle of that pack. Oh my. Man, I'm telling you, there's going to be some guys that are not happy with each other after that. Wow. I'm speechless.
Yeah, Troy had led a lot of our race tonight.
Yeah, he was in position there to maybe get a win, and taken out by that. Just, that's going to be a bitter pill to swallow. That's going to be a tough one. You know, and you know, keep in mind we're in the virtual world too. I don't want to throw the 0-3 completely under the bus here. You never know. There could have been a hardware issue, maybe a timing issue, or you always want to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. I mean, we've seen clean racing here all through the day, and to make a mistake like that is just hard to imagine that there wasn't some kind of underlying reason why that happened. But if not, yikes.
Well, it's definitely changed the complexion of the leaders up here. So we've got Dale Osborne, Mitchell Snare, Chris Berg, and Tyler Hilton, with Brian Mescal, our top 5. We're sitting right at 7 laps to go. So everybody's pitted, everybody's good to go. Couple cars have got damage. I don't see anything on the leaders that's too bad that's going to bother them. Probably the 66 car's got the most damage of anybody up front there.
Yeah, and which means that he's probably he could still be a really good pusher. But you know, if he's in the lead of if you're behind him, let's say on the outside line there, and he's the first guy in line, he's probably going to hold that line up a little bit. And he's got to start on the restart. As long as they're double foul here on the restart, he's got to start the inside row 2.
Yeah, you can see that the back end, his spoilers popped up in the air a little bit.
Yep.
That can't help him. Looks like Damon Cox just got the wave around. Yeah, there you see the damage. Looks to me like back 20, 21, and 22, they've all pulled into pit. If you're on the tail end of that lead lap, you might as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Give some fresh rubber. That'll allow you to maneuver a little bit because we're going to go back green here with maybe about 3 laps to go, maybe 5. Between 3 and 5 to go, maybe. Wow. The light is out on the pace car, so. Whew.
All right, we're going to get them stacked up.
And make sure we're got those seat belts buckled up tight and snuggled into your seat, because I got a feeling this is going to be a wild finish here.
Yeah, I wonder at what point when the friendships go out the window here with them front 3.
Maybe about 2 to go, 1 to go, whatever. Whoever it is that's second or third in line decides they want to win it, that's when it'll go out the window.
All right, we're getting them stacked up 2 by 2 going down the backstretch. We'll be heading into the restart zone brought to us by Blackhawk Motorsports. We'll see what kind of fire off they get from that front row. It's one of them deals now where you do not want to drop back too far. You will not get back up there.
No, I think reasonably first 4 rows, if everything goes green and clean to the end is where your winner's going to come from. But these guys get to racing and someone makes a mistake, that's going to open the door for anybody on the lead lap, at this point.
Okay, they're bunching up. Pace car is getting ready. Heading into the restart zone. And they're green.
Green flag, green flag.
Inside row's got a little bit, about a car length advantage. Takes these cars about a lap and a half to get up to speed.
Yeah, one thing to take note of, too, you remember the little distance guys are keeping between their bumpers? Look at that distance now. They are right on each other's bumpers here.
Outside row looks like it's making a run on them. Dale Osmond out front, that 88 car, followed right behind by Mitchell Snare with Chris Berg and Ryan.
3 wide. Oh, they tapped 43's in the wall.
Yep, they're wrecking. The 00 lost it back there.
We're still green. Okay, it's going to come down now to basically the 2 and 9 probably forward now. 3 laps to go here. Looks like the top 7 has got some distance here. Brian Roach being in the 7th place currently. The guy with the messed up back end is on that outside line, and that's just killing that outside line's momentum. That is really helping the inside guys.
Yeah, there's no way that spoiler pushed up like that.
No, those guys, and that's where the 2 tried to do is go 3 wide to get around those guys because that outside was holding them up. But look at that. The inside is, oh, man. I can't believe the 55 didn't try to take him high when he had the 2 behind him to put him in the middle. But the 55 is pushing him right back up there.
Yep, they're coming back. They're making a run on him.
The 2 is
oh, and we've got a yellow. The yellow. Oh, and we just had a wreck right behind the leaders.
Yeah, there's another big one. Started when the 77 got really, really loose, and wow, the 46, 9, 29, and Oh man, the guy that's led a lot of our laps, that Troy Radford, he popped it off the wall pretty good here.
Yeah, looks like Damon Cox got caught up in it.
Well, Andy, green white checker. First of two. Now let me throw this at you. Guys that took just enough fuel to make it 100 laps may not have enough fuel to do a green white checker. Doing a couple more pace laps and do this. So, does anybody need to pit? That's going to be the big question here. May not be as big of an issue for the first one, but if they can go to a second, I have to think some guys are going to be in a world of hurt.
All right, so we've got Dale Osmond, Chris Bird, Brian Mescal, Steve Baker, and Gordon Larson, our top five.
Yeah, and Chris Berg there with the 66 car, with that damage to the spoiler, is going to start on the outside row, that front row, and I just have to think if they don't shuffle him and shuffle him quickly, that inside row is, whoever's on that inside row is going to settle this thing.
Dale Osmond started 20th. Brian Mescal, who's running in third, started 26th. Those are our two guys that are battling for the Hard Charger Award, presented by Mission 22.
Yeah, Mescal at 23 spots gained is huge. I actually look back a little further. Matt Kopp, he's picked up a 36 to 8th. I think that's actually the guy with the hard charger. Now that I'm adding that up.
Yep, it is. It is. Wow, what a nice run.
Well, Andy, what do you see in the future here? Who's going to park in victory lane? Can you call it yet?
Well, my eyeballs tell me that 55 is the fastest car out there. He's just got to get in the right spot.
Yeah, and unfortunately for him, he is going to be starting behind that 66.
Just watching the way he was moving around, I think he's got the fastest car.
Yeah, I think his best chance is, like I said, they're going to have to shuffle that 66 quickly. Either once you get into the 1 and 2, he's going to need help from behind, and who's behind him is another team car to the 66. So I don't know if he's going to have any friends if he tries to go 3 wide in any kind of scenario.
Ideal scenario would be the 66 to pull down in front of the 88.
Yeah, and then pull out and try to slingshot him there. But here we go. We got 2 opportunities to try to finish this thing out here, and green-white checkered here. And you thought it was aggressive last time. It's getting turned up another notch now.
Yeah, I think Brian Mescal's not done either. So this should be a heck of a 3-lap shootout here.
Yeah, if that 55 and the 2 of Hilton there can hook up, look out, because I think those 2 just on speed are the 2 quickest cars that we have left up front here.
Okay, we're heading down to the Blackhawk Motorsports Go Zone. Dale Osmond will be our leader. He'll need to fire off first. Pace car's getting ready to pull in. Pace car's off. They're in the start zone.
Green.
Good start for the outside. They're right there with them.
Yeah, Yeah, but when they get up to speed, that spoiler is going to be a big problem for that outside line. The spoiler on the 66 car, and you already see it taking effect here.
.33 wants to pull up to the outside so bad.
Yeah, he does. We're coming to the white flag, Andy. Next flag, once they get across that start-finish line, is going to end it.
50,
Here we go.
55 is right on the 66 back bumper.
Oh, the leaders.
My 66 got up into the wall.
Yeah, he did, but now look at the 33 on the outside.
33 is going to make the pass. The 01 pulls out to push him. He needs to pull down. He's staying up. Now he pulls down in front of him.
Yep, here comes that too. And oh my gosh, the 54 just shoved his way. Wow. Below the yellow line and just, whew. More guys that are going to have steam coming out from under their helmets here. But it looks like the 33 is going to take it.
That put Hilton up into the fence. Brian Mescal.
Wow.
Brian Mescal, Gordon Larson, Justin Walters in the 54, and Brian Littleton in the 80, with Steve Baker in the 55 finishing 5th. Yeah, the 54.
Wow, yeah.
Justin Walters made a very aggressive move there on the last lap.
Yeah, and if NASCAR was looking at that, they would probably take that third place away from them. You can't go down there like that, but I don't know what the league rules are, but wow. Actually, he's pretty close. Now that I'm looking at it, he was actually pretty close. I don't know if he actually went below that yellow line, but nonetheless, it was a highly aggressive move that I guess paid off for him. He brings it home third.
Once again, we got Brian Mescal coming from the 26th starting position. Gordon Larson started 15th, is finishing 2nd. And then the 54 of Justin Walters started 23rd. So all three of them cars made great runs to the front.
Yeah, and don't stop there. Look back at 6 there. Chris Mefford, 31st to 6th. A lot of good runs here. Nathan Bishop, he was on the pole and finished 8th. I mean, that's a good, solid day there. So a lot of really good runs throughout the field. We saw lots of comers and then goers and then comers again. What a great race. These guys put on one heck of a show.
I tell you, there was some great driving. The first 70 laps of the race, what was it, lap 58 when we had the yellow? There was just a lot of really good give and take racing. And then when it got down to the end, when it really needed to matter, they stepped up their game and did it.
Yeah, I think the term you're looking for is that's when the gloves came off.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those guys, start to finish, even, got a little rowdy there at the end, and that's expected. I mean, it's Daytona. You're coming down to it, and, even the 54 there, that aggressive move at the end, but he had a massive run, your two turns from the checkered flag, and he went for it, and I'm sure that the guys that he made contact with are less than pleased. But like I said, he brought it home third, so, I mean, it worked out for him. Don't see any of these guys pop up. There we go. We finally got the winner there in the waiting room here.
Yeah, let's give them just a second here, and we'll bring the others in. Well, I sure want to let everybody out there know that we appreciate them tuning in tonight. We're going to interview the top 3 finishers here in just a second.
And while we wait for him, let me do a quick rundown here of the finishing order.
Excellent.
Brian Miskell Jr. takes the win with Justin Walters. He's finishing second. Gordon Larson is third. Brian Littleton comes home fourth. Stephen Baker fifth. Chris Mefford is sixth. Tyler Hilton comes home seventh. Nathan Bishop, who started on the pole, is going to come home eighth. Mitchell Snare comes in ninth. Kenneth Osborne comes home 10th. Travis Smith will be 11th. 12th is David Roach. 13th is Todd Willis. 14th is Craig Lerman. 15th is Jeffrey Stiles. 16th is Lance Yancey. 17th will be Brian Snare. Number 18th position will be Hunter Tate. Coming home 19th will be Roy Hyde. Coming home 20th will be Matthew Kopp. And then 21st is Chris Berg. 22nd is Troy Radford. 23rd, Ryan Wilson. 24th, Damon Cox. And then 25th will be Christopher Spencer. And then 26th now will be Chris Meadows, followed by Michael, I hope I get this right, Alward will come home 27th, followed by Mike Massengale is going to come home 28th. 29th will be Eric Blount. 30th will be Dustin Ping. 31st, Ray Radford. 32nd, Cody Early. 33rd will be Damian Patton. 34 will be Rob Leibel. 35th will be Derek Robinson. 36th, Jimmy Hetrick. 37th, Mark Myers. 38th will be Robert Hetrick. Dylan Blankenship, got to be the hard luck nominee for the night, comes home 39th. Brandon Mefford will come home 40th. Gary Ragland will be 41st. Joshua Caldwell 42nd. And rounding out the field tonight will be Justin Rigsby.
Excellent, John. And we've got our top 3 finishers ready, and we're going to reach down and see if we can get a hold of them. I can't get them up here.
I can't either. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go grab Brian Miskell and pull him up here. Just give me 1 second. Brian Miskell, this is John Hine up in the booth. You got a copy?
I'm having a hard time hearing you guys.
Yeah, that's what we just understood. If you can hear me good enough here, 100 laps, long time out there, 250 miles. You come home first place. Walk me through your race.
Yeah, it was wild, man. We had a strategy with the team guys, and it kind of fell apart. So I was going to try to work with the 88 there, push him to the win, and man, it got wild there at the end, but holy cow, what a race.
The green-white checker there, when you did the stop, the fuel and fuel and go there at the last stop, did you have enough to do both green-white checkers if it came to that?
Yeah, it was just a stop and go with just as much fuel as I needed to.
Can you hear me, Justin and Gordon?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we're not able to pull you guys up into the booth, so you can come up there anytime. We'll just call on you when we're ready.
10-4.
Thank you.
Yeah.
To the trial, but you're up front there. Tell me, what is going through your mind as you come off turn 4?
I'm just either waiting to get wrecked or just prepared for the push that's coming.
Well, Brian, you did a heck of a job tonight. Congratulations on a well-earned victory. Anybody you want to give a shout-out to?
Yeah, I'm gonna give a shout out to my best friend Jack Drennan and my teammates that we got broke away there at the end, but old J Dub, Justin Walters, pulled through there at the end and gave me a push that's pretty much gave us the victory. So big shout out to him.
Well, congratulations again. That is Brian Miskell Jr., our winner for the night. And he mentioned Justin Walters. Let's bring him in here real quick. Justin, this is John. You got a copy?
I got you guys.
Well, it got crazy at the end, but kind of walk me through, your strategy and what you had planned before the race. How well were you able to follow it throughout the race, or did you have to just kind of wing it as you went?
The first half of the race went pretty good. We had the whole team was together. That second pit stop, we got split up a little bit, and then that caution came out and really split us up. At the end, that last three-right checker, pretty much just went for it. There was a hole, the hole closed, and we'll see what happens with the roll books, but give everything I could.
Well, that was a heck of a move there at the end there, and anytime you have contact is unfortunate, but like you said, you saw a hole there, and you're 2 laps from the end of the race at Daytona. Totally get it there, but man, that last restart, where you lined up and everything else, what was your plan there on that last restart to get to the checkered flag?
Like Miskell said, my goal was to try to get up there as close as I can to push one of us to victory if I couldn't get one myself.
Very good. Well, I tell you, congratulations on one heck of a run here and to come home second. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Gotta throw a shout out to the league guys, the madmen, the team. I know how much of a pain it is to run a league. All of the 946 designs for doing the paint scheme for most of the 30-year guys. And Monster Energy.
Well, Justin, congratulations again on a great race tonight. That is Justin Walters, our second-place finisher. And Andy, have you caught up with the third-place finisher?
Yep, I sure have. Gordon, this is Andy up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Gordon, man, what a race. It was almost like 2 races in one there. The first half of the race was pretty uneventful. The second half of the race, man, there was more action than I could almost handle.
Yeah, that's basically what I thought. We were just, early we were, just trying to stay together as a team, and, a couple teammates were running up front early. And, I kept on conserving, and I had the better fuel mileage than all my other teammates. But I still had enough in the tank for another green, white, checkered.
Right on. We were curious for who was going to be ready if we had to do another one of those. That last restart there, kind of walk me through what you were thinking and what your strategy was.
Well, I wish it wouldn't have come out because it would have been a great finish to the end. But, I'm glad when the caution came out, we were sitting 5th, and because I was not going to come off the bottom lane, which I came off the bottom lane on the last, going into 3 just because it was getting a little crazy right there, and I just ran up high and got away from it. I had a good run around the outside, but it just kind of got stalled out there.
Yeah, we saw that quite a bit where guys would get a run and then, it's kind of like you'd hit a pocket of air and it would just stop you.
Yeah, and, Brian had his teammate come up behind him, and I was kind of stuck on the outside. But, I almost had Walters at the line. I don't know how close it was, but,
Yep.
Hats off to Brian. He ran a good race, showed up at the end.
Yes, he did. So did you, buddy. To come on third out of that field of cars, that was a heck of an effort on your part. Is there anybody you'd like to thank for that third place finish?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all my teammates, Eric Blount, Derek Robinson, Bobby, and Jimmy, and everybody up in the booth, and everybody that's running the league. I think this is going to be a great year.
Yeah, I do too. If tonight was any indication, I think it's going to be a fantastic year. Well, thank you, Gordon, and congratulations on that third place finish.
Appreciate it.
Well, John, first night's in the books here at Daytona. What an outstanding. Here's my takeaways. What I learned tonight. This league has got some fantastic talent in it. Some guys that are just able to go out there and run, and to move around the way them cars were and not be beating on each other. Way worse than what it was. I thought it was a great show to start the season.
Oh, absolutely. It's hard enough not to run into each other out when you're out on the track and door handle to door handle 180 mile an hour, which these guys did. At the end we had a couple of skirmishes, but that's expected just because, we're trying to get to the end here and guys are just no longer giving each other room, which is all normal. But these guys got on and off pit road with no problem. A couple of green flag pit stops there, and I'm going to tell you that's not easy to do, especially in the pack and everything else. Nobody ran over anybody getting in or into the pit road there, and what a great group of guys! It seems like I'm excited to follow them here for the rest of the season. It kind of makes me jealous. I almost want to get out there and run with them, but I'll tell you, it's going to be a battle because we didn't see any one car dominate tonight, and it'll be interesting to see if that happens. As we move forward to Auto Club and then on to Vegas, and as the season gets going here, if what we saw is any indication here, you got several drivers that can come up here and challenge for these points and pick up wins throughout the year, and I think that's going to just really, really be a fascinating thing to watch as the year unfolds.
Yeah, I agree with that. I know that next week we're going out to California, and I believe when we get out there, I was just looking at the schedule, I believe that's an earlier race. I believe that's a day event. Let me pull up the schedule here. So next week we're at Auto Club Speedway on March 6th, followed by Las Vegas on March 13th, and then Phoenix on March 20th. And that'll all take place before we head back east and get into some of our regular east side racetracks there. I don't know, John. Great night, great first night for Light Electric Company NextGen Series. Anybody that's out there still with us, please go on and subscribe and click like on the page for the broadcast. And I think we'll wrap it up with that, John. This is Andy Piercefield and John Hine. We're from the Extreme eSpeed Network, and we just want to thank you all for being here, and we will catch you a little bit further down the road.
This copyrighted broadcast of Extreme eSpeed TV Network is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without express written consent of the Extreme eSpeed TV Network is strictly prohibited. We hope you've enjoyed this broadcast.